Yo, JD here to all of us, and as you can see, we are back for part 5 of my career mode against 110% AI. And looking at this, the R&D tree, we don't really have enough resource points to really do anything at the moment. I believe there's a couple bits in the works, hopefully in the next week or next race, or the next 2 races, there will definitely be an improvement, but we need to start really doing the practice programs because I haven't done them at all. I've done one, and that was at Sochi. We have to drive through the gates. I did that one, but we don't even do practice sessions. We just go straight into the qualifying normally, which will make it challenging for sure, but I really want to upgrade this car and try and fight really at the top and just to see what we can do. Even though it'll be more interesting and as I said, more of a challenge, but looking at this, the power units, I've actually changed 4 of them now because some of them are getting about 50-ish, between 50 and 60%. And looking at your comments, everyone's comments, which I've been reading quite a lot before I do these episodes, I decided to change it for this because I want a good qualifying position because this track, like China, is another really strong track for me. So if we can maximize the points around here, then that would be good. So got pretty much a fresh engine for this, or a lot of fresh components, mechanical components for this, and we just got to deliver now. We've managed to do a 21.8, if I can read that on my screen. I believe so. I think I'm about 21.6, and I think I can definitely improve on that, as I think the fastest AI was doing, I think they're doing 18s, 19s and stuff like that. So hoping for a good position. We're currently in P7, but I think a lot of people just bottled their first run, or they just haven't gone out at all, or been held up or something. So try and put in a good lap here, which is a very nice lap so far. I think we missed this apex a little bit. Could have been just a little bit of an earlier apex for that, but apart from that, the rest of the lap has been pretty much spot on, really. Imagine navigate this, maybe possibly a bit tighter through there, but for this corner, flat out through there in 4th gear if you can do that. Just try and go half on the curb because otherwise it will spit you out. End of the curb here, braking 4th gear just before the banner. That's when we'll be braking, turning in, slow in, fast out. Trying to do a slingshot off this, which we managed to do relatively nicely. Coming onto the DRS sign, going across the line, and we have done a 21.1. So that's 4/10 of a second improvement, and that was enough for P10. 2.3 seconds off pole, which was, I thought it was a really good time around here. The pole time was an 18.8, which is reasonably quick. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And obviously those components would help because I think we probably would have gone back into like a 21.8 or something like that without them. But as you can see, it's actually a wet race. And at Sochi last time, we had a really good result in the race. And kind of annoying as well. I probably should have looked at the weather beforehand because obviously engine power is not really as important as it is in the dry, but wet conditions are probably our best conditions on this game. So let's see if we can get good results with 5 lights. Away we go now, and trying to get a good result. So we actually start on P9, so someone had a grid penalty, and let's see how good a result we can actually do in this. Under fueling the car because it's wet, but we're actually being sandwiched. We're actually losing positions going to here. Tagged at the rear ever so slightly by Sainz, but now managed to make up 1 position back into 8th place. So you can see collision. Managing to lose the position again, but I think we're just about to go around the outside of Hulkenberg, which we managed to do really nicely. Really careful on the traction here because it's very, very difficult. We managed to make up 1 position at least, going down the inside of Perez because I want to overtake these cars as quick as possible. He left the opportunity down the inside, and with our 7.6 wings, so we've got running quite a high aero around here, as well, make a little bit more contact again. We should be able to do pretty well around here, but as I said, the engine components are not going to be that much of an advantage, so let's see if that front wing update from last race could be even better for it. As we managed to overtake Raikkonen going into the left-hander, as we're going to look at a little bit of a replay, and making our position, making our way up into 6th place, I believe. I think in this, I thought 6th, I think 6th or 7th, we'll be able to see in a minute, but managing to overtake Ferrari, leaving the door open again, and that is 6th place actually. So going, now we've got Ocon ahead of us, who I think is there for the taking in the wet, definitely in the Force India. We'll go defend ever so slightly from Raikkonen, but still trying to adapt to these conditions. Haven't done the wet round here for a while, but still need to get used to a little bit of snap oversteer, so the car is being very, very twitchy at this stage, but I think it's just the case of just getting used to the inputs But using fourth gear through here, always use it through that corner. Third gear, let's try and get a good exit off here, because I feel if we can get to the back of Ocon, that's for 5th place. And if we can do that, that'll be an amazing result. As Vettel is out in the lead, so there's no chance that we're going to be anywhere near him in these conditions, no chance. But let's see, coming across, finishing the end of that too, we managed to get on the back of Ocon here, and let's see what our lap time is. So we're doing a 35 at the moment, so it's not too bad. I think a second or so off the fastest time. But let's see, I don't think we're going to be close enough on this occasion, so we're just going to hold back on this time, but probably wait for the next lap. As we can see, got definitely a better exit off this corner this time. And now let's see, if the straight line speed, it seems to be really, really good. So maybe he's running a really high aero because it's wet conditions, but we go down the inside, manage to just outbrake him, and that's us into 5th place. And now we've got quite a big gap ahead of us. Now, probably a gap that's probably going to be very, very hard to close down, especially since they're in the Red Bulls. But you could see they were quite a bit faster than the wet round Sochi, so I don't think that gap is really going to be achievable to break down. But you can see 4.7 seconds, and I think this is my fastest lap in the first stint of the race, because we actually do pit again for the intermediates, because they can just about maybe do 100% distance, or 25% distance. But the tyres are going to be absolutely shocked at the end. So this is going to be my fastest lap in the first stint, and we managed to pull quite a big gap for myself and Ocon behind us. So we're solely in 5th place, and as I said in the last episode as well, I think we deserve to be in this position considering our pace. It'd be nice if there's maybe a wet qualifying. I think if we had a wet qualifying, we'd have a chance of probably qualifying in the top 6 or 7, which would be pretty awesome. But coming through here now, left-hander, doing the really late apex, try and keep cars straight as possible before going on the full power. End of this curb, that's when we'll be turning in. Managing to hit the sweet spot there, which we didn't really do in qualifying, but a little bit squiggly on the exit. But there's this corner, probably breaking about 120 metres, and doing another late apex once again. Late apexes are, I say, pretty important in wet, because it allows you to get in the power actually that much earlier, because it doesn't make the corners tight on the exit. Coming out here now, drifting out and then coming back in. End of the curve, 4th gear, hold it through, clipping that curve nicely, not too out wide. Before the banner, take a lot of this curb, a lot of this one, and try and get a good exit of this. 5th gear to avoid the wheel spin. Straight line, got a really sweet exit there, and let's see what the time is. We're in the 34s now, and I think the fastest time is in the 34s, so lapping within a second of the leader's pace, which is really, really good here. So we're coming on to the end of lap 8, and our tyres are in okay condition, but you can see quite a few people have actually pitted because they feel they can definitely not get to the end of the race, as we're still doing relatively good times. So 35.3s. There's Verstappen's actually staying out as well. So I think we're just going to mirror what the AI have actually done on this occasion, because I see Vettel is behind us. He had quite a big lead, but he was starting to catch us very, very quickly. So we decided to pit, because I think we're just going to lose way too much time and possibly run a risk of a puncher at the end of this race. So we're going to go to the pits, as Verstappen has gone in and gone out ahead of us as well, so there's no chance of us holding him up. So we're going to go to this pit stop. Let's see what kind of time we get this time, if it's sub 3 seconds. Let's see what it is. 2.8 or 2.9, and I think we kind of just held ourselves there for a little bit as well. So coming out in 5th place, a lonely 5th place, but we've got Bottas behind us as well, so surprisingly he wasn't actually in the top 4. So that's something to keep an eye on. We've got the Mercedes of Bottas behind us. We'll be able to see now, going through his first sector split and seeing how far we're behind Ricciardo. We'll see. That's a gap we're definitely going to have to manage, but we've got 7 laps left, and our pace is good enough, I feel, to really hold them off. We've got 7-second gap ahead of us, and the gap to Bottas is 5 seconds behind us. So that should be, as long as he's not lapping a second lap ahead, no quicker than us, then we should be relatively okay. As we are going to start this lap now, which I believe is also my fastest lap, closing in on Ricciardo by a 10th, and Bottas has closed in on us by half a second. So we are pretty much matching pace with the Red Bulls, if not slightly quicker on some laps. It is kind of just interchanging, really, is within a 10th each lap. So, and they pretty much stopped Sauber against a Red Bull. We're doing very, very well, but we've got the Mercedes of Bottas is now actually starting to catch us. You can see being very consistent, because he's taken out another half a second purely probably because of that straight line speed that he's got. And we've got to pay attention now, because I think he's actually set the quickest lap of the race, so he's on an absolute rampage to try and get my 5th place in this Grand Prix. So try and navigate through here, and this is, as I said, my fastest lap of the race, so really nicely through there. Not a squiggle on the exit this time, which is the way you really want to do it. And let's see if we could get a little bit of a nicer apex this time. So braking relatively late apex though, allows you to get early on the throttle, straight line, going through here, try and chuck it in 4th, kind of have to let the car slide and then just try and catch it on the exit. As Vettel has done a 33.4, so that's kind of a lap time to aim for. Let's see if we can get within a second of that. Going through the chicane, clipping this nicely, but not too much. Same for the second one. Good exit, 5th gear, good traction, straight line. And now let's see what time we do. We do a 34.1, so within a second of the leaders, so about 8 tenths slower than what the leaders. And Bottas has caught us by another half a second again. So he's catching us by around about a second a lap, or about 5 tenths to a second a lap. But we're moving on to lap 14 now, and there's caution up ahead, and looks like someone has actually gone off. And let's see who's there. As Max Verstappen has gone out of the race, so that means we have gone into 4th place. As you can see, he's in the wall, so I don't know if he's crashed or if he's actually got an engine failure, but at least that shows this game is kind of realistic, because he has a lot of mechanical failures in real life. So I'll give Codemasters credit on that part. It seems to be pretty realistic with Max Verstappen in this game. But skipping on ahead now, and we have slowly, as you can see, got a massive oversteer moment. We slowly started to be caught by the Mercedes of Bottas, and I was really determined to not give up this 4th place, because I really wanted this. I was trying really hard to catch Ricciardo, but our times are pretty much identical each lap. We just couldn't really do anything. But now we've got to pay attention to Bottas behind us, and kind of a flashback to my AOR race around Sochi recently, where I just had no relaxation. I always had to look behind me the whole time, and now it's going to be a similar thing for this last lap. Coming into here now, and just got to focus on our apexes, our braking points, and just drive as we normally did, because in the wet it's going to be a lot harder for him to actually overtake us. No DRS of course in wet conditions, so we've got plenty of, I think we've got a fair amount of fuel. We've got half a lap's worth of fuel as well, so we could even run rich for the end of this race. But some drivers elect to run in full rich in the wet on that qualifying laps, but myself personally, I like to run lean. It just gives me that confidence that I can really attack the throttle on the exit of the corners, and it seems to work quite well most of the time. So coming through here now, using standard mix though, I think in qualifying I'd probably use lean for there, but in the race normally can just about get away standard through high speed corners at least. So coming into here, rich mix, and it looks like he's definitely not going to be close enough, so we're going to go back down to the lean for the really tight section of the track, spot on our braking point, hitting that apex nicely. We're almost within a second of our fastest lap. I think the track's starting to dry up as well, as Sebastian Vettel has won this race, so we are getting better. He beat us by 45 seconds I think last time, and now he's only a sector ahead of us, so a pretty good job with the wet conditions. If we can have more of this, then that'd be great, especially as our car's going to be upgraded throughout the season. Then that, I'm really looking forward to what we can actually do, if we can actually realistically fight for podiums. But you can see we come home in 4th place now, and that's our best result of the season. Wet conditions definitely did help, and maybe changing those engine components definitely helped as well. But I was really happy with that, and again it makes me really look forward to what we can actually achieve if we had a upgraded car in that Sauber. I feel in the dry, even in qualifying, I think we could even potentially fight for the top 5 on a regular basis. So as you can see, 4th place from 9th, as Bottas has qualified in P13. So again, I don't know what happened to him. He must have had a nightmare qualifying. But Vettel winning by 10 seconds, and we're only 15 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, and his fastest lap's only about 6 tenths faster than us, or 6 or 7 tenths. So that was a really, I thought I drove really well that race. Probably the best I've driven all season so far. And next track I think is Monaco or Montreal, so not really looking forward to that too much. But Monaco, I don't know, it could be up and down really. We'll have to see how it goes, but Hopefully get some upgrades on the car. Thank you for all your advice as well. I'm definitely reading it a lot before each race, and I really appreciate your support. It's been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for watching, and catch you next time. Cheers.
Hit 'em.